in year one only, £100,000 would be saved, which is to carry out a review of parking spaces for disabled people, to review the usage and provision of disabled people's parking spaces and introduce a charge for the service, which I suspect might be a sort of full cost recovery type charge. So to receive the application, to plot the space to build it, and then bill the person requiring that space. Is that, I mean, it's only shown for 1 year, and it's shown as £100,000. How many spaces are likely to be charged for in that year, and would it then end, or is it a pilot, or what will people be paying for their space? Which incidentally isn't just for use by them, it's available for use by anyone with a blue badge can use a disabled parking place.
Yep, Mike?
I can see Councillor Alexander wants to come in, but I think there's just a general point about how the budget is presented. So when a saving is shown, it is a recurring saving. So because it's made in a year, it's then in the base budget. So the assumption is that's a 100k saving forever, effectively, Martin. It was only if we were then going to make further savings would it reappear. I'll hand over to Councillor Alexander, but it's a much broader review of charging for disabled parking. It's not specifically about specific parking bays, is my understanding. But Don.
Do you understand, Martin, the accounting point, which is that we hope to save that amount every year? Yeah, okay. So the changes, we've got to consult on them, but one of the things, for instance, we're looking at is at the moment we paint courtesy parking bays outside people's houses. We don't charge for that at the moment. Some authorities do charge for that. We also don't always do it very efficiently because actually we don't have the money to do it really. So the question is, can we look at that and make it something? I would prefer to see it on a more of a contractual basis whereby we make a reasonable charge and our commitment is then to actually do it within a certain time rather than to see how it goes, which is a little bit where we are at the moment. And also, it's not necessarily true that everyone who needs a parking bay, or in fact who is disabled, is poor. There are many people who are disabled who are in high-flying jobs, good incomes, and I think we need to look at it in a more granular way and hopefully save some money. Because actually there are other things like pavements that we aren't always doing very well because we're short of money, and those are really important to people with disabilities as well.
Thank you. Could I just get clarification? So there is a charge in some authorities. It would be useful to know what that is. And secondly, are you suggesting this is a means-tested charge that would apply in Bristol if it only applies to people who are not in those better paid jobs?
Well, we already don't do it in every case. For instance, if someone has got off-road parking, we won't do a bay. We also don't do it where we judge there to be reasonable parking opportunities in the street already. So we do run it through those kind of filters to ascertain whether it's really necessary. So it seems reasonable as well to look at whether a person can afford to pay for it so that it frees up more money in a sense for those who can't. But we will consult on it. We haven't decided on the detail yet. We will talk to people, and especially disability groups, about that.
Could you say what these charges in other authorities are?
I think North Somerset is £150, which would still be less than cost actually, because it does require a person going out and looking at the safety issues of it as well. So actually the figure I've heard quoted is about £500 per bay. It's quite a lot of money, which could actually be sorting out paving slabs and other things that are important to people with other disabilities.
Okay, so it could be up to £500, but maybe not. And And there could be
I
other
didn't say, I
charges
didn't
as
say
well
it could
from
be
what
up
was...
to £500. What I said was that I've heard that the cost is around £500.
The full cost.
I can't confirm that, but I'm not proposing that we suggest that it would be £500.
Okay. No, I understand that. You said maybe 150, but you also
No,
said...
what I said was that North Somerset
Oh, sorry,
charge.
yeah.
I think it's 150 or 133. I did some benchmarking marking on their website.
Okay. But there could be other charges as well from what was said earlier?
Oh, there could well be, yes. We need to look at all of our parking costs, partly because we have a policy to try to reduce the attractiveness of the use of the car. So I'm very, very open to that. We also haven't raised parking charges for a very, very long time. Some of them for almost 10 years. RPZs as well. So, and to be brutally honest, we desperately need the money for other good things in transport.
Yes, sorry. The second point, I might have been misunderstood. The comment at the that was first made was other charges for disabled people's parking, not just the space outside a house. So there might be additional charges.
We will go out to consultation on that.
Okay.
I think yes.
Okay. And there would be,
as I said, the assumption that people who are disabled are poor, I think, is incorrect. Many disabled people, quite rightly, are in high-flying jobs with good income, and I think we need to face that that kind of challenge to our ongoing thinking.
sure. It says this would be this is one of the subject to consultation. So there will be a full equalities impact assessment, I assume.
Yes, yes, certainly, and I will talk to disabilities groups particularly, but I will also make the point that there's money that could be used for other things, because we are letting down disabled people in other areas. If you walk up and down Park Street on those rocking flagstones at the moment, you can see that that's not safe for sometimes able-bodied people. So we need to be realistic about the financial side of transport. Income from government has gone down and down over 10 years now.
John.
Thank you, Chair. Don, I wonder if I could just press you a little bit harder. I've got two questions. The first one is, you must have an idea of how much you're going to be charging the disabled for the parking bays.
No, it's not been discussed.
So we're going to go out to consultation with a question mark figure?
No, this was, all the budget papers were set quite quickly, as has been reported already. And it's something we need to discuss. But I would like to do a wider benchmarking exercise, looking at other local authorities and seeing what they're charging.
Okay, so you won't be drawn on that. On the
No,
second...
but I would be drawn on the fact that I don't think we're doing it very well at the moment,
Okay.
because we don't have the money. So I'm not happy that the status quo is good for disabled people. So we need to look at what will actually work.
Okay. On the wider point, you mentioned the fact that some disabled people may or may not be in work and all sorts of things, but for many disabled people, the car is a lifeline. They can't actually use public transport, they can't cycle, they can't walk. The car is their lifeline. So you're now saying we're going to be charging lots of parking fees for the disabled? Did I hear that correctly, or is that a misassumption?
No, that's words from your mouth, John. We'll not be charging lots of parking fees for disabled people. We'll be talking to disabilities groups. As I said, we're already letting down some people with disabilities with the standards of our maintenance.
I'm confused now. So are we going to be charging the disabled to park in Bristol? Yes or no?
No decision has been made. It is in the budget, in principle.
So in principle, we are going to be charging the disabled to park in Bristol?
In principle, we will be charging disabled people, but we will be consulting on that. And the consultation is absolutely genuine, and I've not had any discussion with...
Well, I'd like it recorded on the minutes that I'm appalled by that suggestion.
Heather?